My name is Robin Stavisky. Like I said, my background is in marketing. I've been in marketing for 25 years. I've been teaching here at Stanford, Gulf, almost a decade on social media. And I'm truly astounded at the changes every year. Okay, so let's plunge right in. When I got my MBA, and up until maybe 10 years ago, well, the world was really defined by mass media and mass markets. And when I went to school, we were trained that way. Today, the world is changing because of so many people in so many places, on so many devices, who are getting access to the internet, and now, for the first time, each other, and often the companies themselves. And what that's driving is not simply a new marketing paradigm, but a new marketing skill set. And hopefully that's part of the reason why you're here. So these markets are atomizing. And they're atomizing down to mass markets of one, me. My tastes are very particular, and they're very specific. You're not going to find me hanging out in a mass market. And so the experience for me as the individual is to want to be in control of my own information, my own decision-making, and my own attention. And so it really, as we all know, really kind of switches around the focus from the organization, corporation, to me, and the work that I have to do. And so that is going to be changing the game as well. So today, consumers are connected as never before, and that really makes a difference. And it's that level of control that we're going to be talking about, because these are things that all of us in this room know. But what does it mean for marketing? What does it mean for the marketing strategy? We'll be talking about that in great detail. So, connected consumers are transforming our business as we know it. And the focus now is on them or on us, as opposed to the corporation. And you can choose to participate in the conversation or not. But really what's important is that you're included. I had a meeting with a client in Texas, a large utility, that really didn't want to do or get involved in social media. But they thought, well, maybe they had to do it. And they didn't know that people were talking about them right, left, and center in their area, and they just weren't tracking it. They didn't know. So without their being involved, this conversation is taking place anyway. So that's the first thing. The other thing is that social media is not just about telling people what you're doing and sort of PR in disguise. It's really about generating something that's meaningful, about generating something that puts together or builds a relationship. And it's incredibly important. And it's also reflective of a world in which the consumer has a real voice. So there's all sorts of trends that have affected social media in the 1 year since we've had this class. And I'm going to focus on the ones that I think are the biggest, and some smaller ones as well. But I really want to give focus to what these trends mean for our world of marketing. So in the idea of the engaged or connected customer, it really means that your customer, your employees, are people that are going to become your marketing set. And again, I work with loads of companies, and most of them want no part of social media or very little part. And they don't realize that today their employees, you and I, are talking about them all over the place. So not to have a policy that'll help to manage and organize that, take advantage of that, is really not a good idea. Half of Americans today own some kind of smartphone. And really, it's amazing how fast mobile has taken on. And mobile is really changing everything. I was telling Carla when we were talking about the course, if I had completed my research a little bit earlier, this course, social media would be the second part of the course. Right? Mobile is that important. But we're going to pull that in. We'll have lots of people talking about it. I want to talk about the exploding growth of the visual web. And you might say, well, haven't pictures been on the web for a long time? Aren't they really driving a lot of attention? And the answer is yes, and it's so much more. And in the business world, it's so much more with video. And as Carla and I were talking, so much more with mobile video, mobile social video. So we talked about the fragmentation of the market. We're going to be talking about other things as well. We're going to have a really nice talk on gamification and how you monitor what people are saying about you in the field, how you determine your ROI. But these are going to be the top subjects. Let's see what we've got here. Okay, so we've already talked about this. I want to tell you that while most companies, and this is a Harvard Business School study, know that social media is important today, according to them, only 12% of the companies they interviewed are really doing it and really feel comfortable with it. And that's a very small number. And I'm just astounded by the companies I talk to who are kind of inching up to it for the first time. It's really amazing if you think about it. And these are some figures from the government sector so that you can see that in every part of business and operations and government, you have a great deal of involvement. But you don't have compensatory marketing strategies and approaches at most places. Since I have been taking a look at utilities, I was that's not a very good, can people see that more or less? I was amazed to see that PG&E had a very good Facebook page. And what I wanted to do was to point out some of the things which are unintelligible here, but they'll be on my presentation. Each of these people is given a name, all right? So all of a sudden, the board is much more familiar and kind of friendly. It's not just PG&E out there, it's Manny fixing your cable. There's a place for your branding so that your brand flows throughout the internet and throughout hard copy as well. There's apps that help increase interest as well as engagement. There's a news blog of their breaking news. There are key programs that you want to follow. And there's also customer feedback. And when you're a utility or any kind of public service, as soon as you put up your blog, your community, whatever, be prepared. You're going to get an avalanche of all that negative stuff. But if you can sit tight, it actually gets a lot better. And it doesn't have to override what you're doing. In fact, it builds the relationship of trust because they understand that you are paying attention and that you're willing to have the good with the bad. And so engaging, this is a comment I think about one of the football games in the city. The voice of PG&E is trying to make PG&E a warmer, more personalized kind of company. And you can flip it on a dime. You can take a small company that wants to look as big as the continent. And you're going to have examples of both in this class. So this is one little example. Did I give you as your first assignment, it'll either be tonight or it was, on the power of like? Okay, so what is the power of like? Anybody want to hazard a guess? Oh, come on. A little guess? Please. A connection. A like is a connection. What else is a like?
An application.
It's an endorsement, absolutely. What else does a like do? So just to tell you, a like is absolutely a higher level of engagement than nothing, right? If I go to the effort of giving you a like, giving your organization, giving your product, I've really put my seal on it. And what happens when you are a social media channel? The person that gives the like, that like is spread to all of their friends, all of the people that track them. And that can be very powerful. That can lead to incremental purchases of people who are their friends, and influence of those friends. So, and it really depends on where you are. In other words, unlike the days of mass media, we have small targets, and you need to know where I hang out. And that can sometimes get very sophisticated. We talked about a mobile tsunami. I want to tell you that this is the first year that the sale of smartphones and laptops exceeded those of PCs by a lot. And the traffic is just going up exponentially. In 2014, mobile internet usage is expected to overtake the desktop. There are 6 billion users worldwide of mobile, 87% of the world's population. Now we're talking about not smartphones as well. But today there's already 1.2 billion applications, 1 billion of which belong to Apple. I mean, the numbers are just staggering. So, if you talk to someone in business, everyone will say, well, of course, mobile is very important. But the reality is that most companies don't do more, if they do, than optimize a website for mobile. But if they do that much, that's significant. But people who use mobile are far more engaged in their business life as well as their personal life. And people who see an ad on mobile are 42% likely to click. They're 35% likely to visit the advertiser's site. And when they're making decisions about what to buy, whether it's a new pair of sneakers or a new semiconductor chip, they're using the internet for that. They're using the mobile internet for that. So while this is really large, it's absolutely practically untouched. If companies are just trying to figure out how to get their arms around social media, mobile use is just really in its infancy. So one of the things I want to suggest, and hopefully we're going to have a chance to see that, as marketing becomes, as mobile becomes the marketing hub, there's a mismatch today in what marketers are trying to do and what people need. Marketers are trying to do, by and large, the next new thing. Maybe they want to do a barcode or a customized app, but really where they should be placing their focus is on the context of what the user needs. And that will come of age, but right now it's a part that's really fallen behind. Very few advertisers or companies make use of SMS, which is texting, and they should. It's really where the bulk of the market is going. And so we want to understand, we want to think about the behaviors of people on mobile so that we understand where our core market is going. Okay, so in addition to mobile, we want to pay attention to the visual web, which we said was a no-brainer, but really is it's skyrocketing. And why is it skyrocketing? Well, it's skyrocketing because people like things that are visual, and because there's tons of new outlets now for getting that visual fix. You know, I was astounded when I looked up some numbers for this class. Pinterest is now getting more hits than Twitter. That's truly amazing. And people are using, and their numbers look like the hockey stick for mobile. And you've got other companies like Instagram and Flickr and iMovie, if those of you who use it, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, that now is the dominant graphics site. So visual search, and visual search is coming on board, and it too is changing what we do. So as marketeers, we need to keep that in mind. Visual is really powerful. And at the top of that, doesn't do that online, that's all right. Good. So what's driving that is the availability of some of these new social tools, the low-cat cost, or the lower cost of data, accelerated sharing, and rapid acceptance of mobile. Mobile is driving that visual growth. At the top of the food chain for visual is video. And it is just exploding. We're going to have several speakers, both from the nonprofit and for-profit sectors, speaking about that. It's just really, really important. And it's important because consumers are more likely to purchase or more likely to make a connection if they're able to look at your video. And by video, I mean mobile video as well.